Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Empowered Conversations. I'm so excited to share my guest today with you guys. Her name is Carrie Boan, and we have been friends since like 1999, but we'll share with that when I get her on. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about her, introduce her background. So everything starts with the brain, and she is an emotional intelligence expert. As a certified emotional intelligence expert, certified brain health, and certified life coach, Carrie is a consultant and keynote speaker to healthcare leaders, executives, and entrepreneurs. Through her unique yet simple emotional intelligence strategies, healthcare leaders and entrepreneurs learn to direct their thoughts, words, and actions for effective communication, building brand trust, and employee client retention. Using emotional intelligence tactics to rewire our minds, we position ourselves to achieve maximum focus, clarity, control, and ultimately highly respected and rewarding careers and lives. Proven by her current and former clients moving to success from stagnant and to scholarship from failing, she coaches with quick, immediate, and impactful strategies for sustaining lifelong excellence in both personal and professional life. Carrie combines her extensive career in neuro-focused physical therapy, brain health coaching, and life coaching with years of overcoming her own depression, abuse, and stress. Her programs are designed from her own personal experiences and professional knowledge. Conquer Mental COVID, Take 5 to Focus, FOCUS, and Get Your Mind Right are Carrie's signature tactical yet straightforward programs designed to rewire our neural networks for positive, powerful thoughts, words, and actions. What's up, Siobhan? So everybody help me put your hands together in welcoming my good friend, Carrie Boan. What's up, girl?
Hey, that was awesome.
Hey, well, you're awesome.
I love
Oh my
it.
God.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, so you and I were discussing, we met, I think it was like 99.
Yes.
And I still had 2 more years left at Coastal Carolina.
Mhm.
And you were in physical therapy.
Yes.
And we had a mutual doctor friend, Jeff Benjamin, and you were looking for a roommate, I believe.
Yes. I needed a roommate, and he's like, "Hey, this gal," and and we got along great. It was awesome, and
Oh my God.
that was it. We've
Yeah.
been friends ever since. It's been
Yes.
like such a journey. It's awesome.
It actually has been. I mean, and it's just amazing. Again, yourself, like yourself, I have so many friends that have been, I wouldn't say lifelong or adult lifelong, that have embarked on work, fulfilling work
Mhm.
that serves others and living lives with intention. And Siobhan says, "Hello, Carrie. You look so pretty."
Hey, thank you. Oh gosh, I'm
That's my
blushing now.
that's my cooking show co-host.
Oh, that's
I'm so
cool.
happy
Yes,
to
I
have her
love that.
here.
I love your cooking show.
Thank you, deep file, Rick and Licious.
Yeah.
So yeah, so tell us a little bit. First off, I know that you when I met you, you were doing the physical therapy thing.
Yeah.
So just tell me a little bit about your journey and tell people, what's your description of what emotional intelligence is?
Well, I'll start off with my journey. My journey started in physical therapy in 99. That was my first year. I
Mhm.
actually still work in physical therapy. I'm active home health, pediatric, and adult therapist. But somewhere along 2009, 2010, that's when I moved away from, I think, the beach. And I started doing contract work, and I found work with children. That
Mhm.
evolved into the youth sports injury prevention program, which evolved into concussion education prevention. And at the time, my loved one had been diagnosed with post-concussion syndrome, similar to the NFL players.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like back in 2013 through 2014. So then I just like dove into it, studying the brain more than I ever did or cared about in college. Honestly, I'll be very
Yeah.
honest. I ran into my neuroscience teacher a couple of years ago when I went home to visit, and she's like, "You did not like studying the brain." I'm like, "I'm obsessed with it now. Like that's, that's what I do."
Right.
But so then that evolved into actually developing a business in life coaching, post-concussion youth athletes. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. But then it evolved again into speaking to entrepreneurs. And this, I think that's around the time I moved to Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
It evolved into speaking to entrepreneurs and executives. And one of my mentors said, you're not coaching brain health, honestly, at this point. You are coaching emotional intelligence. You just don't know what to call it. And
Right.
he said, emotional intelligence is a soft skill that's up and coming. So just go ahead. I mean, that's what you do. So that's what you need to tell people you do. I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. So that's how everything evolved from brain health coaching and post concussion into emotional intelligence coaching for entrepreneurs and executives. And then I went further into healthcare leaders because, of course, my background is healthcare, but
Mm-hmm.
also educators. I'm a keynote speaker this year for the University of South Carolina Women in Leadership. And that's all high school and above educators that will be attending live and virtual. It's going to be open to anybody in South Carolina virtually. So that is how it evolved. But emotional intelligence
Mm-hmm.
is being aware of your own emotions, thoughts, feelings, actions,
Mm-hmm.
being so aware that you understand how your thoughts, words, and actions affect others.
Right.
So you have to understand what you're doing and how it
Mm-hmm.
affects the people around you in order to have empathy for them or to communicate with them effectively without offending them. And if you upset them, how to recoup from that. So and I mean, hey, you've known me 20 years.
Yeah.
Holy, I mean, and
Over. Yeah.
yeah, my mouth used to be, I used to just pop off and say whatever.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
Yes.
So that's when I tell everybody it's from personal experience too, especially the physicians. I mean, my nickname at one of the hospitals was Red, of course the hair, but because I was hot-headed and
Right.
I did it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
I'm still a huge patient advocate, but if the physician wouldn't write the order for the brace or the test or
Right. I
they
remember
were,
that.
yeah, I would be like, listen, you need to do this, and this is
Yeah.
why. And they're like telling the doctors this, and they're like,
Yes.
who,
Carrie was not shy of telling somebody how she really felt about something. No, but I love
yeah,
and admire and respect that.
yeah, and I still
And
do
it wasn't
that.
in an ugly or offensive way.
Right. That
Mhm.
was that's how I justified it. But
Mhm.
now I can do that and present it so I don't get pushback and present it in a way that the doctors or the nurses understand my position and
Right.
I understand theirs. So it's a mutual respect rather than me bulldozing my way through the doctors or the nurses
Yeah.
to get my patients the best care. So that's how I developed it because I always say it's not a one and done. I have to work on this myself on a daily basis too because
Right.
I promise you, and I'm sure you've experienced this, once you start to master these skills, you are
Mhm.
tested. You don't ask for the test, but you are tested. Like,
Yes.
I mean, I was just tested the other day on the phone with a physician
Mhm.
and I was like, okay, he wanted to do a virtual visit with the patient, but the patient was way out in the country.
Yeah.
No Wi-Fi signal, no cell phone service. We were lucky to get the doctor on the phone and he was very strong in his words. And I kind of had to have it come down a little bit because our patient was right there, and he felt bad that he didn't have Wi-Fi and he lives so far out in the country. But there was nothing he could do. So I had to kind of recover that whole situation. So that's when the emotional intelligence comes in, and we need it on social media. This whole
Yes.
year has
Yes.
been freaking insanely hot in social media, politics, the work environment. So that is why right now my niche is everybody wants to learn, and I'm very grateful. Like, this is why I got into this. Like, this is what I'm here for, because
Right.
the world needs to get along. We all need to
Abso-freaking-lutely. And
we
it's,
all need
and
to get along.
yeah, and your story, it's like you cultivated your own personal emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And excuse me. And, seeing what that did, for you in your life and how you interacted with others and more effectively communicated with others,
Yes.
to drive your points home, so they
Yes.
would be received in the way in which, which is the reason that you're sharing. So I've
Right.
got Mike Chavez says, hey there, self-awareness. He loves this topic. And then Siobhan says, redhead who couldn't hold her tongue. What? She don't believe it. And then, hey, Chris, my buddy Castora's on. What's
That's
up? So anyway, so tell me, tell us about how, like, you work with your clients, because again, you were talking about, um, it's 7:00 p.m., guys. I'm used to doing this at 1. So I'm a little
sorry.
woo-woo.
My fault too.
Oh, girl, no. I'm so glad that you're here. I was like, I don't care. I want you on. We'll do it at 4 in the morning if we have to. But brain injury through concussions, because I worked at a place at some point in my life, and my manager's son played football, in high school, and he had numerous concussions that were inhibiting, that were causing headaches and migraines, depression, etc. So tell me how you work with your clients to overcome, severe brain injury.
Right. So in physical therapy, I set that aside, because the physical therapy portion of it, of course, you're in the clinic and we have doctor's orders and things like that. In my independent programs, I use Dr. Daniel Amen. That's who I'm certified through. That's
Okay.
who I took my loved one to back in 2014. Took him to the Atlanta Dr. Amen's clinic there and was referred there. They do SPECT imaging. And then they do a 3-day whole workup. But a lot of our clients, SPECT imaging is not covered by insurance. It's expensive. And not everybody has access. There's only 5 Amen clinics 6 now in the United States. And of course, during the pandemic, nobody could go to physicians' offices and things like that. So the brain health coaching, when you're a certified brain health coach through Dr. Amen, he has identified 16 different brain types. So the first thing we do is have somebody take the free brain type test.
Okay.
And then that immediately helps me see, like, what is overactive in your brain, what is underactive in terms of neurotransmitters and the areas of your brain. It also tells me what nutrition is best for your brain function. So,
Right.
Some of us focus better. Some of us find by default, like, we're like, oh, wow, I find that I function better during the day if I eat protein first thing in the morning. Well, that's because of your brain type. Some people have a more balanced, some people actually focus better with more carbs. So it really depends on your brain type. And so, and then I have the intake form. If I'm seeing somebody for post-concussion syndrome, have the intake form where I find out all of their history, and it's interesting because people will forget things that happened when they were young, and that actually can have a really big impact. Yes. So, if you fell down 3 stories of concrete steps when you were 5, and you never really got treated for it because they were like, oh, kids don't get concussions. And now you're 24 and you were in a car accident and you had a concussion and you're having headaches, you're having trouble focusing, maybe temper issues, things like that. That God knows what that did when you were 5.
Right.
And now you're 24, you have another injury to the brain. So we look at everything.
Mhm, mhm.
Even how you were when you were in school. Were you able to focus? We take that into account. So the first thing I do is start with nutrition. I mean,
Mhm,
if you don't get the right stuff in your body, which is why your cooking shows are so awesome, if you don't get the right food in your body, your
mhm.
brain, it's just less effective. And I don't push like perfection with eating and drinking. I mean,
Mhm.
and Dr. Amon's approach, his wife is an RN and she has several cookbooks out. You don't make yourself suffer. You never say, I'm
Right.
never going to eat chocolate.
And I
I'll
never
never
promote that either
right.
through my
So
cooking show.
yeah, and it's balance, but it's understanding what is healthy for you and what is not. So if you have a big test coming up, or if you like a speech, when I speak, but do my public speaking,
Mhm,
that morning I'm eating protein because that's how my brain works better is protein. You give me carbs and I'm not going to have nearly as much energy. I'm going to lose my focus, but if you give
mhm,
me more protein and plenty of water, I'm going to be on it. So
mhm,
that's how I start my brain health coaching is the free brain assessment. And then I figure out what brain type you are. We start with the nutrition and your habits. And we never tackle it all at once. It is
mhm.
definitely 3 to 6 months. I mean, it takes 3 to 6 months. And
So
yeah, but wow, the people that I've worked with, youth
mhm.
athletes and adults, it's been really cool. I love it.
That's awesome. I would be very interested to take the test just to know, because I
Yeah,
know, at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, I remember learning there were over 60 different types of eating,
yes,
from paleo to vegan to vegetarian, you name it. And I
crazy.
remember also one thing I didn't know until I studied it at IIN was about blood type. How,
Right,
eating for your blood type, which probably is very related to brain type. But
right.
again, it sounds like with brain type as well has to do with previous injuries or
Yeah,
trauma,
yeah.
emotionally and physically. Yeah, I would be really interested. So I think, what is the name of that?
It's the I can send you the link so you can
Okay,
put it in
perfect.
the
Yes,
yeah,
and we'll put it in the show notes.
yeah. Do you want me to
So
do that now? I have it on ready.
that would that would be perfect,
Yeah,
and it should show up. And then we'll just post it as comments after the show, because sometimes the comments don't stay because it's a live video. I know
that's
through
right.
YouTube
Oh,
they go
yeah,
away after the live is over. But
that's true,
don't
that's right.
worry, folks. Every way in which
Yeah.
you can get a hold of Carrie, and that's also in the show notes as well. All the links.
Oh, yeah.
So, so I'll let you finish that.
Oh, yep, that's what I was scrolling for. I'm
Perfect.
like, "Wait a minute." I got it,
Oh, and Siobhan says protein for me. Yeah.
yeah, and you can really feel it. You can feel once I become aware, I you can really feel the difference. So that's
Oh,
why
yeah.
it's really hard for the kids right now,
Hmm.
especially if they're home and they're doing homeschool. They might not, well, even in school, they probably don't have the right nutrition. And if they're home and all they have are like Pop Tarts and things like that,
Yeah.
that's not going to help them take the online exam. They're going to
Yeah.
be doing they're going to be scattered, especially if they drink a Mountain Dew first thing in the morning. It's
And
really a wake up call.
right.
Yeah.
And as kids, that's what we wanted. We wanted the Pop Tarts, the sweet cereals, the jelly, on the toast, etc. But it's like, if you think about it, school lunches and like this, they're crap. The
Yeah.
food is just well, here, not everywhere,
Not
but it
everyone.
seems that, I mean,
It
you
is.
would think that it would really hit home hard that we have the ADD. There's the ADD and ADHD are rampant,
Yep.
um, with kids, or supposedly rampant, and it's like, well, maybe what are the kids eating? You
Yeah.
know, it's so important to fuel your body healthfully, even as a kid. Maybe that's why there's so many behavioral problems and learning problems, because children are just not eating the right foods for the best nourishment for their growing bodies and the energy that
Right.
they need, because they're expending a lot of energy anyway because
Yeah.
they're children.
So red, the different color, the different dyes,
Yep.
automatically, especially red and blue, make ADD, ADHD worse. So this is when I coached youth athletes, I would tell them, if you're going to take a test and you feel like you need hydration, I had certain drinks that I would tell them to drink. Like, don't drink a Mountain Dew. What is that? Red Mountain Dew, Code Red Mountain Dew. Oh my God. And
Oh, I know.
but even on the field, I would encourage the coaches and the parents to buy, if they were adamant about Gatorade or something like that, buy the clear or the white, color. Don't buy the red or the blue, but you see that the Powerade and the Gatorade, those are the colors that are out there. And then the kids are like picking flowers and not paying attention to the ball and, kind of, and so it makes it worse. But when you think about the cereals that are on the shelf, the, anything with artificial food coloring in it is going to affect their brain and for the following a couple of hours after they eat. So that's why a healthy breakfast is the best way to get them focused. So you can, like you said, you can about imagine, like, oh my gosh, yeah, what they have.
What do you think about coconut water as an all-natural source to replenish electrolytes?
Yeah, it's good. I use it in my smoothies for myself and my
me
son.
too.
Yeah. So I definitely, and when the pandemic hit last year and I was seeing patients, so I would have coconut water, ginger, lemon, and mint in my drink. Yeah, so
all the stuff I love.
I was like, okay, that's boosting my immune system here. So yeah, coconut water is awesome.
So tell me about your these strategies: the Conquer Mental COVID, Take 5 to Focus. What is Take 5 to FOCUS?
Okay, so that's one that, all those the 4 that I listed are, if I listed 4, but I have 4 programs and 4, I don't know, main topics that I speak on. And Take 5 to Focus was, like, for the past couple of years has been my most popular. F is freeze. O is observe, C is consider, U is understand, and S is speak. So F is freeze your lips, freeze your fingertips. Somebody pushes your buttons, somebody says something to you, just freaking freeze.
Right.
Just freeze. Like, don't just shut your mouth. And because that's the hardest thing to do. That usually, when you know me and how I was, if somebody starts saying something to me, and a lot of us, we just want to jump back. We just want to jump right in, cut them off, and start fighting back immediately. And we haven't even heard the whole sentence. We haven't even heard what they have to say. We just heard a couple words that ticked us off, and we're ready to fight back. So F is freeze. Just freaking freeze your lips, freeze your fingertips. Don't start typing on social media. Don't start typing the email before you read the whole thing.
Everybody listening to this?
Yeah, like freaking freeze. That's why everybody, they're like, I literally had somebody hire me for something last or 2 years ago, and they're like, wait, can you just do the Take 5 to Focus thing? Just freeze, because that immediately starts a new neural pathway in your brain, because your old neural pathway is pop off at the mouth, say something smart, fight back, protect my feelings. So freeze. O is observe. Observe your heart rate, observe your posture, because I guarantee when somebody starts making you angry or hurting your feelings, your heart rate goes up, your palms get sweaty, you lose your focus, because your brain goes into fight or flight to protect yourself. Your brain doesn't understand that you're not being chased by a lion, that you're just being mouthed off to, or your buttons pushed. It doesn't know the difference. So it immediately goes into fight or flight, which shuts this part of your brain down. which is your executive functioning lobe. That
Mm-hmm.
keeps you from saying and doing things that you shouldn't. So that's why you take 5 to freeze, observe how you're feeling. Take a deep breath, because that brings oxygen to the frontal lobe of the brain. When we get
Yes.
mad, we stop breathing. I mean, we don't realize it, but when
Mm-hmm.
we get upset, when we get angry or hurt, we stop breathing because we're
Mm-hmm.
going into fight or flight.
Right.
You take a deep breath. Then you C is consider. Consider the other person's perspective. So hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
that's what I had to do just the other day with the physician on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I had to consider his perspective. Like, I need to see my patient, but they can't come in the office.
Yeah.
But I had to get him to understand our perspective is that what do we do? Like, we don't have Wi-Fi. We barely have a cell signal. They don't have like nothing technology is working out here. So
Yeah.
consider the other person's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You is understand. This is the hard one. Understand that you don't always have to be right.
Whoo, that's a big one.
I know. Especially for me, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Fight,
Me
fight
too.
until the very end, right? Just fight
Yeah.
until you understand that I'm right and you're wrong, okay? And you see it my way and no other
Boy.
freaking way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and this is what these are lessons that I learned because it was pointed out to me. This isn't all about other people having problems. You have a problem too that you have to address. So I had to understand, you know what?
Right.
Sometimes you don't fight to be right. You communicate to understand and say, okay, you know what? I don't agree with you and you don't agree with me, but you know what? That's okay.
Right.
Whew. I mean, that's heavy
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
most of us want to have our way. And I
Mm-hmm.
know hey, I'm
Absolutely.
a Taurus. I always get my way. So
I'm a Pisces, but I still always want my way. I
yeah.
don't tell me no. I can't stand to be told no. Tell me anything else, but
Right,
no.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yes.
S is speak
Speak.
only after you've gone through those steps. And everybody's like, Jesus, that took 10 minutes to go through those steps. Not when not when you start making it your default neural
Yeah.
pathway. It takes time at first, but then as you make it your default neural pathway, it's your automatic neural pathway and it
Right.
gets stronger and stronger. And it doesn't take 10 minutes to go through, shut your mouth, observe your response, consider the other person's perspective. It's your automatic. And
Right. So most people operate in reverse. So it's suck off.
yeah, yeah.
And me included sometimes. Come on now, I'm gonna, admit to from
Myself, the
suck
one,
off to focus.
yeah, the one that driving. When I'm driving and somebody cuts me off or somebody,
Right.
that's when it's like, Jesus, it's because they can't hear you, right? So
Yeah,
you just
yeah,
get mad in your
yeah,
car, but
yeah.
it's up to you how long you let that bother you,
Right,
or
absolutely.
if somebody calls you in 5 minutes, are you going to be still ticked off that somebody cut you off? It's not, whoever's calling, it's not their fault. Unless,
Right.
unless they're the one that cut you off.
Yeah.
It's like,
That was me, that was me.
yeah. So anyway, yes, that's
I
my
love
take.
that. That was great. That was just such a powerful gold nugget. Love that. Focus.
Yeah.
I love it. So, and then you've got get your mind right. I guess that would be related to focus, right?
Well, it's actually more related to removing the toxic out of your life, implementing the Take 5 to focus, getting a positive, not just positive, but getting a good group of people around you that you can rely
Thank
on.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Because when you pull away and you're not surrounded by the right people,
Mhm.
it makes life rough.
Yeah.
Success is really hard to come by if you're not surrounded by the right people. And by the same token, you get surrounded by the right people, and it's just like they push you forward and lift you up, and you can
Right.
rely on them. So, and healing old wounds, which is rough. That's the rough one, healing old wounds, and then talking about it. A lot of us have been taught to just shove stuff under the rug,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of self-talk that goes on, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, well, you know what? I'm probably the only one with
Imposter
that
syndrome.
problem. Yeah, I'm probably the only one like that, so I'm just not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to talk about it. I made a post on some women's entrepreneur thing this morning on Facebook, and I'm like, when you guys start making progress, does anybody else feel like 50 things start hitting you like all at once? And the women were like, oh my God, yeah. So talking about it is so helpful. So getting your mind right is literally getting your brain in the mindset for success and happiness.
Yes.
And it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, but the people that work on it have definitely seen results. And the one more time, I don't know if I included that one.
I don't think you did. I don't see one more time.
Yeah, one more time is the magical key to success, and it's the technique I use. The way we build the neural pathway is, like I said, just to repeat. And that is physical or emotional,
Absolutely.
mental habits. If you don't repeat them, they just fall by the wayside. The old neural pathways are always there. And the way I like to explain the neural pathways is if you think about an electrical cord, like an industrial electrical cord. That is a neural pathway that you've had laid down since you were a kid. Now you're 40, 50 years old, and you have this industrial size neural pathway. Because I didn't start doing this until I was in my 30s, right? So those freaking neural pathways were like industrial. So then when I started out, you can compare it to like a cell phone charger. Very narrow, that's the neural pathway, very narrow. But as I take that pathway over and over and over, it gets thicker, like the industrial cord. And the industrial cord starts to get thinner and thinner and thinner. And that's not the default pathway anymore. It's always there, though. These neural pathways don't just like go away. They just get weaker and weaker and weaker. So that's why when we have habits, we can tend to backslide, and given the right situation and the right person to say something to me, I can just come off right quick and say
you've heard the term neurons that fire together wire together.
Yes.
You've seen What the Bleep, right? You've seen What the Bleep?
Yeah, I have seen. I've it's somewhere in one of my blogs. I have that, or maybe it's on my Instagram post, like the neurons that fire together, wire together. So that's that you can just imagine in your mind all of these tiny wires, and the more you do it, the more they wrap themselves up and they get thicker and thicker and thicker, and that's how we get these stronger than steel habits that we have.
Absolutely. Well, then your last one here is conquering mental COVID. Conquer mental COVID.
Yeah, that's my last one. That's obviously my most recent one, because like 2 years ago there was no. So that conquer mental COVID is definitely geared towards healthcare professionals and educators, because we've been not that everybody has been challenged. Everybody has.
Yeah, it's a global.
Yeah.
Globally.
Yeah. So, but I broke it down into 21 days, and it is, again, like I love the name, the Conquer. So CONQUER is broken down into conquering mental COVID, and each letter is 3 days worth of work to.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, to overcome mental anxiety, depression, and stress, basically, that has been brought on by COVID. And a lot of us have had to deal with it in different ways. And initially when it happened, I thought, you know what? no big deal. We can get through this. Like
Yeah,
I've seen
right,
people with TB, like we're healthcare workers, we can deal with it. And
right.
then like, this stuff isn't going anywhere. And
Yeah,
now, like every day, we're briefed on the new PPE that we have to do, or do we have PPE? I mean, where do we get PPE? This is what you do with the patient. Don't do this. Now, this area is a hot spot. I mean, it was just like, and the teachers, they went from teaching in person to teaching virtually. I didn't realize a lot of them didn't know a lot of the technology. When you're an entrepreneur, you kind of like teach yourself technology and you
yeah,
assume everybody else has too. They
right,
didn't. They
right.
didn't know how to automatically shift all of their stuff onto
To Zoom
online.
or
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And the kids just aren't as like, even as a speaker, I'm usually like up moving around the stage and everything. Here
Mhm.
I'm sitting, I'm
Yeah,
sitting, I'm
yeah,
on Zoom. So the kids are the same way in the classroom. And it's really hard for the teachers to reframe that and have the energy they have in the classroom on this Zoom chat for the kids that are stuck at home. So Conquer Mental COVID is definitely geared towards the healthcare professionals and the educators to help them identify exactly where their stress, anxiety, and depression is coming from. We know it's COVID. Okay, we got that.
yes.
But exactly where is it coming from? Is it coming
Mhm.
from the pathways that they had laid down as kids, and now the change is hard for them? Some people don't care about change. Some people are
Yeah,
like, okay, cool, I'll do it. No big deal. Other people
right,
are like, well, who moved my cheese? Right? Remember
right.
that?
Who moved my cheese? That's one of the
Yeah.
best books.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, that's some people really can't deal with change very well.
yes,
I used to be one of them. Like,
yeah,
don't move my stuff. Like,
right,
are you kidding me?
right.
So, stuff really finding the root of why
Mhm,
we're stressed, anxious, and depressed because of the COVID. So
mhm.
that's what that is.
Yeah. Are you able to see the comments?
I am not. I am not.
Okay. So Siobhan has, she says, yum, ginger and mint and coconut water. She loves that too. She's like, ha ha, freeze your fingertips. Love it. She also says, love that. Take 5 to focus. And she is speaking my language. And what a gift this is for
Oh
so
my
many.
gosh, thank you. Now
Yeah.
I'm
Siobhan
verklempt.
is fabulous.
Talk
Y'all
amongst
need to
yourselves.
connect. Siobhan is a life coach. She's a mindset limiting belief coach as well. She teaches, laughter, yoga, etc.
Oh, that's
But
awesome.
you guys need to connect. So she's
My
the
son said goat yoga
best.
a couple months
Go!
ago.
Oh, I know. Goat yoga is so adorable. That is like oh my god. I mean, goats, baby goats are like over the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, they're just huge. They're everywhere. They're all over social
They're
media.
cute. Yeah, yeah. Connor took goat yoga. It was pretty funny. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah,
Goat
that's
yoga.
awesome.
Love
Yeah,
it.
whoever is on here, connect with me. I'm on anywhere on social media. You just type in the Brain Diva, and that's me. Yeah, it'll be
She
me.
just asked, she said, did you just say you were Valkempt?
No, Verklempt. That's
Oh,
from Saturday
verklempt.
Night Live. A long time. Like, what year was that? I think it was
I don't
Mike
know that
Myers.
term.
Mike Myers, the church lady. Mike Myers,
Oh,
the
I
church
love.
lady on Saturday Night Live. He would say, "Oh, I'm verklempt. Talk amongst yourselves." And he,
Oh, I remember that now. Okay,
yes,
that does ring a bell. Oh
yes.
my
So
god.
that's what I was saying. I got tears in my eyes. I was like, "Oh, I'm verklempt. Talk amongst yourselves."
Siobhan says, "OMG, I just said that 3 days ago."
No way.
That's hilarious. Oh my god.
We're on
Wow.
the same wavelength. Ooh, that's awesome.
She had to explain the same exact thing to her husband.
Oh
Yeah.
man, Saturday Night Live was the stuff back in the
Oh, I
day.
know. Yeah, Saturday Night Live. There was a time, this guy that I dated, I think you remember him, and he was in med school,
I know who you're talking
and
about. Yep, yep, yep.
yes, yes, and he didn't have cable, and he had this TV, and he only got 3 stations,
Oh
and
God.
this was like 2001, 2002.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
had the Comedy Central, he had USA, and I think one other station that we never watched, but so all we watched was Comedy Central all the freaking time. So it was Saturday Night Live. I remember that was the Dave Chappelle show had just come out,
Oh,
and oh my
wow.
God, there was so much good stuff
Yeah.
on Saturday Night Live, or
Yeah.
on Comedy Central. Well, Carrie, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, this evening. And so,
Thank
any
you.
last? Oh God, you're so welcome. And oh, Tyler and I are coming to Charleston
Oh,
a week
yes. Oh, God.
celebrating our birthdays,
Okay.
and we're coming. It's I think it's the weekend of March 27th.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I think so. And Siobhan says thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Siobhan. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for being on and all your
Yeah.
fantastic comments. And thank you to Castora and Mike Chavez as well. Well, guys, is there anything else that you would like to share with us, with my audience? Any
I, them or me, or does it matter?
anything that you would like? Yeah, you, Carrie, would like to
Oh, yeah.
share?
Well, just in closing, emotional intelligence is something we all need. Like, I really feel like this is what I've been called to do now, just from my personal experience and my professional knowledge. This is what I've been called to do. This year has absolutely tugged at my heart, and I'm trying to help anybody that I can. So if there's anybody that that needs emotional intelligence coaching or would benefit from it, organizations, I love to speak to organizations, because that's how you reach the most people
Yes.
across the board. And if you talk to the leaders, then they try to implement those things to their workers, and that's a really great way. And we take it home with us.
Mhm.
Okay. So this
Yes.
isn't just about like the business side of it.
Right.
I have used this with I have to use this with my kids.
Yeah.
Like, they're 18 and 16. Like, oh my gosh, like, just in order to communicate and not lose my mind and have a good relationship with them, I really have to work on it with them too, on
Yeah.
my end. So I'm a good example. So
Absolutely.
please just think about emotional intelligence the next time you get on social media and you're interacting on social media, before you type things, before you say anything in person. It's a lot easier to practice this in person. When it's
Yeah.
on social media, you don't see those things right away. You don't see the hurt in somebody's eyes. You don't see
Yeah.
the anger. So it's a lot easier to get away with forgetting about emotional intelligence in social media. So I think if I had to say one lasting impression, is when you're on social media, when you're doing the Zoom chats and everything, just remember it's a person with feelings on the other end, and think about them as much as you would want them to think about you.
Absolutely. Do unto others as you want to have them do unto you.
Yeah.
Treat other people the way you want to be treated. If everybody literally lived their lives that way, imagine what the world would be like,
Yeah, I
you know?
posted on Instagram this morning, Dr. Wayne Dyer, which
Yeah.
he
I
passed away a
love
couple of years ago.
him.
Oh,
Yes.
he speaks to me. Okay, when he talks about channeling, he channels me. I promise you. Like, I love it. But today I posted one of his quotes, and
Mhm.
how people treat you is their karma. How you respond is yours.
Ooh,
So yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and you know what? It's true, because when I used to be hot-headed and really just like a bull in a china shop in a lot of ways, that's how my life was. Like, that's how my
Mhm.
life was. It was,
Mhm.
and then when I pulled back and I slowed down and I started thinking about what I was saying, how I was coming across, my life got better in so
Absolutely.
many ways. So I just want people to experience that too. Like, if you just slow down and take time and consider and think about things, your
Mhm.
thoughts, because lots of times our thoughts about ourselves is they're not even accurate.
Right.
Your words and your actions, you can make your life so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much for being here, Carrie, and
Thank you
you
for
and I
having
will
me.
connect. So, stand by. I'm just going to say goodbye to my audience, and I'll be right back with you.
All right.
All right. Well, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode of Empowered Conversations with my girlfriend, Carrie Boan. Every way in which to get in touch with her, follow her on social media is within the show notes already. There are links within the show notes. And tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Siobhan and I are doing our food therapy cooking show. So join us live. We're going to make this white pesto pasta. It's going to be so deep frickin' delicious. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye, Siobhan. Oh, Siobhan says, I love him. Talking about Wayne Dyer. He is fabulous. Oh, my God. All right, guys. Have a great night.